Good morning, friends. Now we are going to discuss about the venomous snake bites part 2. Previously, we discussed about the types of snakes and the toxins present in the venom or the proteolytics present in the venom of those types of snakes. Now we'll discuss about the field management or the pre-hospital care given we should give to the patient. Before going into that, we should discuss some statistics. These are not a bit accurate for understanding purpose. I have round figured them. Yearly, 6 million snake bites occur yearly, of which only 2 million of which only in which only 2 million envenomation takes place. Of these 2 million, only 1 lakh death deaths occur. That is, the envenomation to death ratio is about is about 5 per 100 envenomations. Actually, the deaths mainly depend upon the pre-hospital care given to the patient. So, in developing countries, this death ratio can be more because the pre-hospital care given to the patient is not that much good. They take for so in developing countries like our country, there is lack of poor pre-hospital care. So the death rate may be a bit higher. The death rate can be brought down by health education and pre-hospital management to every Indian citizen. This has to be our individual responsibility of every doctor, so that deaths can be minimized. Even saving one life, you can save 4 people of the family. Coming to the topic proper, field management or pre-hospital management. First, we'll discuss about what we should do or do's. What are do's? What we should do first. The patient who was bitten by a snake will be having so much of fear of death. So we should remove the fear in, in the patient. See, of the 100 envenomations take place, out of 100 envenomations, only 5 deaths occur. So we should give assurance to the patient that nothing will happen. We should remove the fear. Next, what we should do is next aim is to rapidly transport to the medical facility for supportive care like airway, breathing, and circulation. And followingly, we should give antivenom therapy. That is, second goal is rapid transport. Okay, before transporting him to the medical hospital, some field management or pre-hospital management should be taken. First of all, first among them are we should remove tight fittings or jewelry at the site of bite. This is because hemotoxins produced by some snakes like vipers causes local tissue injury and swelling. This may lead to obstruction and constriction of vessels at that area and cause tissue necrosis. Next one is clean with soap and running water. This is because snakes bite snake in mouth of the snakes. There can be some foreign or some microorganisms which can cause sepsis in humans. So by cleaning with soap, the microorganisms die. And with running water also, the microorganisms which are stuck to the bite site, which are stuck at the bite site, goes away. And we should do sterile dressing. Next one, splint should be applied. Why the splint should be applied? Because to limit the movement to limit the movement. When the movement is limited, there will be decreased bleeding. When the movements are limited, muscle pumping can be decreased. This leads to decrease in dispersion of venom into the systemic circulation. This splint can be best applied in neurotoxic snake when bite is due to neurotoxic snakes. What we should do? Splint pressure should be 40 to 70 mmHg in upper limb and 55 to 70 mmHg in lower limb. Okay, these are the do's. Now we will be discussing about the don'ts. What we should not do: capturing the snake live or dead, because this can cause capturing snakes live or dead. Even the dead snake can be poisonous. Okay, so when if it bites a person, if it bites another person, again it's a big problem. Second one, in rural areas they do incision and suction. This should be avoided. Already due to hemotoxins produced by the hemotoxic snakes, incision causes local tissue damage. Already the hemotoxin causes local tissue damage. This incision adds upon it and causes more tissue damage and also leads to increased risk of infection. So incision and suction should be avoided. Third one, ice, electric shocks, tourniquets should be removed. Why tourniquets shouldn't be applied? Because tourniquets causes ischemia. It adds upon the tissue injury due to toxin or venom and leads to loss of the limb. The people who are uneducated, why they apply the tourniquets is they think that the venom do not spread when they apply the tourniquet. See, our cardiac output is approximately 5 liters per minute. Our whole blood volume is 5 liters per minute. That means in 1 minute of the time, the venom can pass to whole body. So we should, so by time taken to apply tourniquet may be much more. So it's of no use of applying tourniquets. Instead of and it again causes ischemia and causes tissue injury, which aggravates the condition and leads to loss of the limb. So tourniquet shouldn't be applied. And sometimes even envenomation doesn't occur. If we apply the tourniquet, the limb goes to ischemia, and without the envenomation, the patient may lose the limb due to necrosis of the limb. Next one, avoid folk medicine or traditional medicine. People in rural areas, instead of going first to the medical care facility, they go to they take folk medicine or traditional medicine. They go to quacks and they put their life in danger. These are the things which we shouldn't do, and we should explain these do's and don'ts to every Indian citizen to avoid deaths due to snake bites, and also to avoid morbidity due to snake bites like losing of the limb, etc. How fast you move the patient to medical care facility decides the death or living of the patient or comorbidities.